Since I was a kid, I've been fascinated by stories. Not just the what, but the how. How lives change. How moments unfold. I realize the answers, they aren't always in books, but they're with people too. That's why we started this show, to uncover the extraordinary in the everyday, one story at a time. Welcome once again to ACTV Storytellers. This is a show where we chronicle the lives of fellow Anderson Countyans who have or are spending their lives in service to others and to their community, making a positive impact where they are. This is our June episode, episode 6, and this time around we continue to break new ground on Storytellers. Today we interview our first married couple, and not just any married couple. Our guests on today's show are a married couple who provide solid evidence dispelling the myth that Dragons and Mavericks can't live and work together. We are honored to have Lisa Harrison Smith, a dragon, and David Smith, a Maverick, on the Storyteller stage. So, gang, welcome to ACTV Storytellers.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, yes.
I'm so excited to hear your all story, and just, I mean, like, the fact that you guys are here. David, you went to Norris Middle School and then Anderson County High School.
Yep.
And Lisa, you went to Grand Oaks. And then
Norwood Middle.
And then Clinton High School.
Yep. And I graduated.
And then graduated. And somehow you guys came together as a married couple, and it's still working. I mean,
Is it?
dispelling the myth that Mavericks and Dragons can't come together. But right. Here you are. Mm-hmm. Well, let's start with this. So Anderson County's not where things started for either one of you. Talk about where you were born and how you both got to Anderson County.
Yeah, it's crazy. So basically my parents are from Virginia. And so my mom's from Virginia Beach side and my dad is more from the western part of Virginia. And so they met and got together and whatnot and had a group of like core friends that just decided Tennessee's beautiful. We've traveled through there, the mountains. It would be a great place to raise our daughter, all those things. And so it was like a pack of my parents' friends kind of moved down and we planted our roots in Anderson County immediately. Kind of in the Marlow area, we found a house. And then that's when, I went I started at Grand Oaks the very first year they broke ground, I think. I was in kindergarten. So I was that first class to like go through. So it was like brand new school. Anyway, but yeah, that's how we came to. So we left Virginia when I was 5, so I remember a little bit about it, but Tennessee's home. I mean, this is where the core memories are. So
yeah.
And Dave, your trip wasn't that far.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't very far. And we came. My family was my mother and father was raised in Oneida, Tennessee. So I know a lot of folks locally that have kind of migrated from that area into Anderson County as well. But I was there in Oneida with my family, who both. My mom and dad both worked at a flooring company called Hardco at the time.
A lot of people worked in that up there.
I feel like I was one of the only places to work there at the time, and it was popular. So you had generations of family that grew up in that area and all worked there, and my dad had an opportunity to go to a Girl Scout camp and be a maintenance manager at a Girl Scout camp that was just over the Anderson County line in Union County. It was Camp Tanasi. Yeah. Local folks may know that. You may have sent your girls there for at some point to Girl Scout camp, but we actually lived on the camp. It was like 400 acres that we moved in, but again, it was just across the Union County line at the time. So when we moved, I moved in after my 5th grade year to this new home. I actually started and went to Union County for about a year and a half until we got into Anderson County schools later on. So it was Norris for me in 7th grade, and that was kind of my first steps into Anderson County and Anderson County schools.
So when you both got here, you both were kind of athletically inclined. You David, you had your sports. Lisa, you had yours. And when you got into school, you had some coaches that were pretty influential, and sports were influential for you both. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I from an early age, I think that I loved basketball. I was always outside playing, shooting around. That's before the times of cell phones and tablets and all those things. But But yeah, I just really loved basketball. And so in fifth grade, I tried out, and I'd played throughout elementary school for rec leagues and whatnot, but fifth grade, I tried out for Norwood Middle School. And little did I know that the coach there, Becky Stone, who's the direct, you know Becky.
I do.
You know her, yeah.
I do.
So we've talked about that. She is amazing and such a divine sent down from heaven blessing to me. And so she was the coach, and I mean, we just loved her so much. I can still remember that's how I learned the Lord's Prayer. She told us what a mustard seed meant, and we played with a mustard seed in our sock one game. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I loved her so much in middle school, and so she's the one that really like made me like love basketball. But then went to Clinton High School and played basketball for a few years and really developed more of a love for tennis at that time. And it was one of those things where it was like tennis just wasn't big in Clinton, and I hate that, but like I think it's getting a little bit bigger now. And but I just really developed a love and a passion for tennis, and I wish I would have started that at an earlier age. But yeah, Coach Bob Byers, he was amazing, and just helped me through like learning the game and strategizing and all of that. Played volleyball for Susan Zellner. I went through all of school, Grand Oaks, Norwood, and Clinton High School with Zellner's daughter, Dallas. And so just a core friend from the beginning. And so just really sweet just how all the circles come together. And so, yeah, I was fortunate to have great coaches throughout that just really helped me just learn the game. But more than that, they were more after your heart than they were
right.
You learning the game.
Teaching you about life as well as the game.
Yeah. So those are the things that I carry with me. And that's why I think we're big on just youth sports in general and just making sure our kids do love it, especially our son. And Ellie's developing a little bit of a love for basketball. But yeah, so it's just really sweet to see that.
Yeah. For me, my first day at Norris Middle School was tryouts for the basketball team. And so I didn't know anybody in the school. It was my very first day. And Coach Phil Cox was one of the probably first influential coaches and teachers that I had in my life for sure. And I can remember that first day and being probably more nervous than I can ever remember being ever, walking into a practice with a bunch of guys I didn't know. And you know, really from day one, his big focus was around being part of a team and what that meant. And I think all of us really brought a lot from that. We didn't really even understand how good he was until we were out of school. And then we learned a little bit of that later. But we learned that. We learned working with as a team, working with others, and it became less of an individual sport where you got so excited about being a great individual player coming from elementary school and some of the other stuff to really working as a team. So Phil Cox was one of those first ones, and then transitioning into high school, there were several, and man, it seemed like all the coaches at Anderson County High School all worked as a team because we seen coaches from all different sports coming into basketball and being influential to all of us. But two major influences for me were Coach Mark Eldridge and Coach Derek Wallace. They came in my sophomore year, and one of the biggest life lessons that I learned came from those two coaches because I was flying high after my freshman year when I was already playing basketball by the time they got there. Came in and we did tryouts my sophomore year, and I didn't make the team that year.
So you had made it your freshman year, but you didn't make it your sophomore.
Not with the new coaches coming in. And man, as a high school athlete, the lowest of the low that I can ever remember being coming off that and like wondering like, man, basketball's been it for me. Like, what am I going to do? And so I'm talking to my parents and trying to decide whether I think it was going to be I was a lifeguard like really early on. I know it's kind of an odd thing to be in like middle school, high school. I don't think it's allowed anymore, actually. I think it's to be so old. But I was a lifeguard at the camp that we had. So like I was a good swimmer. So we talked about these things, and I can remember just being in tears, not having basketball anymore. So I was like, I've got to go talk to Coach. And I go to Coach Wallace, Derek Wallace, and I tell him, I was like, I'll do anything. Like, just I'll grab towels for the guys. I'll just be a practice player. I was just whatever it takes to be with these guys that I've been with for a long time, and I want to work with them. And they let me basically come onto the JV team and start playing some JV ball and just kind of being the scrappy practice player, essentially.
So you saw that as an opportunity, not
It was an opportunity.
That's great.
And when they said yes, I knew it was going to be up to me at that point to kind of go in and like show everybody. So shortly after that, Coach Eldridge opened up an opportunity for players to come in at 6 a.m. every morning. You can come in and practice if you want. You don't have to. You can come in and shoot. And I was there as it seemed like every day. I may have missed one or two, but I was there every single day. But Coach Eldridge would come and work with me during those times. And knowing that I was a JV player that wasn't even getting much playing time on JV at the point, coming in and working with me and being there if I had questions, taught me a huge lesson in kind of perseverance and those things. And by the end of my sophomore year, I was playing some varsity ball again, and starting my junior and senior year, playing lots of ball. And I became kind of that kind of player. It was scrappy, hard work, gritty, and like do whatever it takes. And I attribute both those guys with kind of instilling that in me. And I've definitely taken that beyond sports, beyond athletics. So those guys a lot.
You're talking about when you were at North Middle School and you met Coach Cox.
Yes.
I think I shared with you when we had lunch a couple weeks ago. My wife and I went down to Memorial to see Tennessee and Vanderbilt basketball game, and I was just walking around the stadium, and I turned this one area there, and there's a huge mural of Phil Cox. Like, I don't mean like the mural was very much taller than Phil, you know, and I was like, Phil in his natural height is something else, but Phil, like the size of a billboard, I mean, he looked like, I never thought Phil could look like LeBron James, but in that billboard he did. But I just remember he had these floppy socks and he was running down the lane, looks like he was shooting a one-legged runner.
Yeah.
And we weren't working together, but he was working in Oak Ridge and I was in Anderson County, and I texted him about it. And I said, hey, and his response was, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, and not too long ago, I believe his, was inducted into the Vanderbilt Hall of Fame too, right, for basketball. And maybe, I don't know if his jersey number was retired, but man, what a recognition for a local coach and player for us. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you both grew up on the other side of the river. I mean, Lisa,
the river.
Yes, the demarcation line. So you were a Dragon and you were a Maverick, but how did your educational experiences help you guys? Because as I understand it, right, you all didn't know each other when you were in high school. You didn't date in high school, didn't they? So as you were going to Anderson County, David, and Lisa, as you were going to Clinton, how did educationally, how did that impact you guys?
So, like, as in, how did we meet? Like, just
no. How did the school? How did growing up in Clinton educationally, and then you going to Anderson County? How did that impact you guys?
Yeah, I would think, some memories that I have from Anderson County specifically was, we talk a lot about. And kind of what Lisa and I do now, we talk a lot about community and the impacts of that. Man, I felt like that in our school, the feeling of community in between sports and teachers. And I can still remember I had history teachers and English teachers and art teachers, all these folks that would come and support us during our games. It was like there were little extensions, like our teachers were extensions of our family, and they truly, truly cared about us. And I know that's something that still goes on now, and I think it was very, very special for us, not to just have, our friends and our own families, but man, that the Anderson County High School team of teachers and the administration, man, they were all rooting us on, and you could really feel that it was genuine love for us as students and student athletes, and they made it a special place for us to be and to be able to enjoy our sport, but also, getting ready for next stages of life for us. So they made a nice community for us.
Listen, I loved high school. Like, I think that's why I went into education, and I had a lot of just game-changing people throughout my high school career that impacted me, and I almost feel like every time we meet someone, it's it's a divine appointment essentially, and it's just an opportunity to take something from that person and hopefully like a great trait that they have and just apply it to your life. So I've got this, my heart's just full of like just a little quilt of patchwork goods just from like Ray Oliver. I mean, he's the reason why I went into education. His creative writing class, and I know you just had Catherine Birkbeck on here.
We did.
And she's game changing for downtown Clinton and she's just a beacon of light. You know, you're just constantly looking for those people who are shining light on your community, who are doing good things, who want the community to be a better place. Love her. She's a member at our gym and a close friend. But Ray Oliver just really meant the world to me. I can still remember he would always start the class with a magic number, and he would define what that number was. Maybe it was a current event number or just something, or a quote. And I could still tell you some of the quotes that he would have. Loved him. Dwayne Emmert, a legend. One of the reasons I went into English, he just made learning so much fun. Rhonda Phillips, love her. She's a dear friend of mine still to this day. I mean, I had an amazing high school experience, and still my best friends to this day are some that I've met. One I met in middle school, Patty Beats, who is an educator in Clinton City Schools. But my other best friends, I mean, it was the sweetest experience. And I want everyone to have the kind of high school experience that I had. It was just so much fun.
Well, I just want you to know from an outsider standpoint, when I know those friends, those girls that you talk about, and some of us, when we see you guys coming together, I don't know that divine appointment is the phrase that pops into mind.
We're a good time. We are a good time.
At least for you guys, I'm sure. I mean, like I've heard some stories, but that's not for now. We'll skip that.
No, we'll skip that.
So you guys didn't know each other in high school, but you get to college, and then there's some kind of catalyst that you guys start talking.
That is what we called it back in the day.
Yes.
We're talking.
So how did that happen? Because here's what in case people don't know you, here's what I can tell you. Lisa is easy.
What are you about to say, Darren?
Easy to get to know. Very extroverted. David, on the other hand, a little bit more introverted, a little bit more mild-mannered, you know.
Did he just call me easy?
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Is
that a blooper?
we need that little button.
Easy to know. Easy to know.
Easy to know.
So how did y'all start dating? How did that happen?
So he graduated in 2000. I was from AC and I was 02 Clinton. I do not know how the paths did not cross. I know we had to be in the same gym, basketball gym, playing each other. I don't know. I'm sure I was rooting for Clinton when he was playing against them. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where I was like, I wish that I could go back and like see video, because I promise you, I have no clue. I don't know how that didn't happen. But I'll tell you what, I was dating another little boy, or talking to, whatever, when I was like 18 or 19, probably 18 or 19, I don't know. Straight out of high school, and we pull up to JC Park because we had to drop some shoes off to one of his friends, and there's a pickup game of basketball going on. He won't know this, but I do. So we pull up, and I'm watching these, I'm 18 or 19, and these boys are shirtless, and they're out there playing JC, and I'm like, okay. And then I see this little golden, just beautiful little Greek god come out and just make this beautiful layup.
Okay.
And
we have photographic evidence.
let me just show you.
Oh, yes.
Now, this was probably back in the 1900s. Was this 1900s?
You gotta be kidding.
This hangs in my son's room. It's a joke, kind of. Like, I was like, look at this vintage picture of Dad. And he actually really loves it. So it's kind of the joke's on me. Like, look at that.
I mean, how could you not pick that guy out of the crowd?
I mean,
you know what I mean? That's fantastic.
That was before the mullet and the rat tail.
You had a mullet and a rat tail?
No, you didn't, did you?
That was more of my Scott County days, but
He was younger. He was younger then.
It was
younger
different. But yeah,
Oh my gosh! But seriously,
that's fantastic.
I know.
I would just like to say that it was not my idea to put that up in my son's room. So it wasn't me hanging my own thing.
I understand.
No, it was not. It was
wasn't
me because I found it at his mom's house, and it's just been this whole thing, and I've kept it. But anyway, I don't know. But I did. I saw him when I was with someone else, and I was like, "Oh, who's that?" I don't, because I know, I knew some of the guys that were out there playing, and I was like, "Who's that? Who's that? Oh, who's that? That just made the layup?" And I just note to self, put it in the back library, and maybe we'll check that book out. We'll revisit that at a later time.
Well, I've heard this story a time or two before, but I'm trying to get her to change that to a slam dunk that she saw, maybe like 360 something.
Yeah.
It was nice, but.
Oh my gosh! But then
So
it was
you
college.
didn't see her.
I did not. I did not see her that day. It was in college when we had first met.
Did somebody introduce you guys, or did you
my friend Nicole White, who teaches at Norris Elementary, she was dating a guy, and they were good friends, and just one of those things where it's like your friend circle and their friend circle, you hang out, and then it was like, oh, okay. So our paths were meant.
The rest is
meant
and
to
then
be.
here we are.
That's
Here
right.
we are.
So did you guys? So your courtship obviously moves along. Did you get married when you were in college, or did you? What happened there? I mean, like you went through college and you were just dating.
Yep.
Yeah.
So talk about where we went from dating to making this thing official.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm silly and voted class clown and all that, but I was serious about some education. I was like, I don't have time to get married in college. Like, I think maybe some people do. I don't know. That wasn't for me. I was like, I want to get through that. And I got my bachelor's in English, which wasn't like an easy major, but then, my master's was in education, and then started teaching during my internship, which hardly ever happened back then with English majors, but was at Anderson County High School actually, and teaching there for a few months with Randy Russell. And then a position opened up when I was like 21 maybe or 22 at Clinton. And I said no at first because I was scared. I was like, ooh, no, I want to get through my master's year. And
Is it hard
we were
going
dating at
back
that
to
time.
your own school?
Yeah, yes, that was it. It was like, I don't know if I'll be respected right out of the gate. Like, I don't know.
Because you had left quite a reputation, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Like, I was like, I don't know if that's for me. And then, but yeah, no, I had a sit down conversation with Greg Deal, who was the principal at Anderson County at that time. And I said, listen, I'd love to be here, but Clinton is offering me a job. I don't want to burn a bridge here. And I appreciated what he said. And he said, I'll tell you what I would tell my son, Chad, who I ended up working with at Clinton later on. But he said that, go where there's a job. I would love to have you and hire you. I can't guarantee that we're going to have a position, but I would tell my son to go where there's a job. And so I always respected that, because I thought he could have said something to kind of keep me that, but because I was fine either way. But I was like, and so that was eye-opening to walk into, during my internship, getting my master's and working with UT, and they're trying to figure out how to make this thing work. And I walk in after Thanksgiving when these high schoolers, 9th and 10th graders, had a sub for about 9 weeks, maybe not that long, but a long time. And they were stuck in their ways. And I mean, I walk in, and one of my classes had 33 freshmen in it. 23 of them were boys.
Wow.
20 out of the 23 were like good friends. So there weren't enough corners to put these kids. And it was like boundaries and management and all that came into play real quick for me. But yeah, no, I mean, I got through school. I wanted to get through school before we got married. And we dated. I mean, we really did. We dated for like, what, 5.5 years?
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, just over. And we both worked through school too. So when we got to UT, we were both working. I know at one point I was almost working full-time hours plus taking a full schedule at school too. So we were busy. We were super busy during school. We wanted to also, it was a goal of ours early on to get through to, and you can almost overdo this, by the way, but we wanted to have everything kind of lined up. So we both wanted to have jobs, and we both wanted to, be as stable as possible before kind of diving into the next thing. So. Yeah. So we did about 5.5 years.
So you went in different directions. Lisa, obviously in education. David, you were in business.
In business. Yep.
So you get out of school, start. You get married, couple. you go off in different directions. You're teaching at your old high school, and David, you're working with Advanced Auto Parts.
Yeah, I am, and actually worked with them through college, and that's what was kind of unique in that particular situation. So I was going to school for enterprise management, which was basically like a corporate level management training program. That's kind of what my degree was. So you could go into a few different areas, but I'd been training for that through some of the degree work. But as soon as I graduated, actually before I graduated, I actually accepted a position to start managing locations for Advanced Auto Parts, who's an aftermarket parts manufacturer. So from that point on, I've kind of started my career with them. And it continued on. There was lots of change that happened there too, but started directly out of school and managing stores. So I'd had a full-time job the day I graduated with them.
One of the things I think is really neat about both of you is, and Lisa, we'll just start with you, because you were teaching, but you began to develop kind of another career, and then you had to make a choice, and then David, you had to make a choice because in your field, you were beginning to advance up you were getting some promotions, getting some other opportunities, and then you guys had to make some decisions. Lisa, for you, it was photography, and then David, you're with your promotion. So talk a little bit about that and how you guys process that through together.
Yeah, I mean, I taught for 11 years, and I guess, I can't remember what year it was, but year 7 or 8, somewhere in there. Me and Randy Russell and Jason Chambers and Caleb Tipton and Travis Hutchison, all great friends of mine still, but we got our EDS at LMU, and we were a little cohort. I mean, we had so much fun. We would drive up to Harrogate and once a month and just, we knocked that out. But so, yeah, I was looking at it was a crossroads of we don't have kids yet. And do I want to do administration? And I started helping out and filling in with some administration, assistant principal stuff. And I did love that. And I don't know if the door is fully closed on education for me. I'll never close fully a door. And, I don't know. I don't know how God works. So I'm like, I loved education. I really did. And I missed the daily impact on me. You walk in and you've got at least 80 kids plus more in the hallway that you can make impact with. That. I mean, it's just, it's a blessing. I know some days it may not feel like that, but it is. I mean, it's the super rewarding thing. But yeah, so I had to decide, do I stay in education or this? And photography, I literally, when I was in high school, I worked at the Clinton Courier with Ken Liner and Ray Blakeney, and I would go and do little stories and write them and shoot, and I learned the dark room. Oh my gosh, it was, I could not do that now, but it was just cool to go through those kinds of things. And so I developed a love for storytelling. And so, yeah, and I just always loved a camera. And I asked Santa before kids, right after we got married, I was like, hey, I want a camera. And Santa delivered. So, it wasn't anything big, but it was just enough. And then I started my friends it just kind of organically happened. It was not like, hey, I'm going to start a photography business. And then here we go. I mean, I started taking pictures of friends, and it just kind of, and then it was like, okay, I'm posting pictures of everyone else, but this is getting weird on Facebook now. Okay. And then it was like, let me pay you. And so I started booking things, whatever. And then weddings, and it just kind of organically really happened. And, no, it got to a crossroads. It didn't get to a point where I was like, oh yeah, let me do photography. It got to I can no longer function. I mean, it got to that point after I had Harrison. He was still Advanced Auto Parts, corporate, traveling maybe once or twice every other week. Nothing major, but enough to I was doing every drop off and pick up. And for the moms out there that work full time, and then also juggling photography on top of that. And anybody in education knows that you're not just working 40 hours. You're taking papers home. You're grading. And when that bell rings, you're still thinking of those kids. It's mentally taxing in the best kind of way, because you love those kids. But I was like, I went back for one semester after we had Harrison. I decided to do that. just to see if I could do it. I think just to prove to myself that I could do it. And I did it, but it was just like, I cannot function like this. I wasn't working out. I was tired as all get out. I wasn't my best self. And I think that a lot of times as parents and moms, we get to that point where it's like, am I my best self right now for my family? That's a hard question. I mean, that's something we can ask every day, you know, am I my best self? And I was like, I'm not. I'm always exhausted. I'm always tired. I can't do this. I can't do a full-time job and photography. And then Dave's like, why don't you give up teaching? Like, he's the one that kind of encouraged, you know, and I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, I've got to give up something. I mean, I can't do this. And so we decided, you know, let's take a year. So Dr. Parrott gave me a year. And then photography was good to me. And then it was, let's take another year. So Dr. Parrott said, yeah, I think to 2 years. And then after that, it was like, yeah, we can't give you any more years, which
Right.
I understand. But it was just, it's been really good to me. I mean, it really, really good to me. So,
Well, you both had unique opportunities because David, yours wasn't a different career. Yours was, you just continued to get opportunities and advancements, and then you were getting to a point where you were going to have to. And I think this is interesting because I think you both made the decisions that you made for your family, because you had to make a decision of. I mean, I'm not. This is a figure of speech, but you had to make a choice between the corner office and your family.
Yeah, it was maybe not the decision, but definitely a big part of kind of what the future of our family and my dynamic inside the family was going to look like. Because, you know, we joked for a while that every 3 years new opportunities kept coming up, and it's unique. If you've ever worked with a big company before, they were a Fortune 500 company at the time. It seemed like there were always opportunities popping up, and as you kind of go along, you see how many people say no to those opportunities, and for whatever reason, I always felt the obligation to go and take opportunities and take on more responsibility. So about every 3 years, it was going from a store level to a district level to a regional level and so on. So I was covering at the time for one division of our company, a big portion of the Southeast, and the travel wasn't crazy, but I was able to see the lens past that just through our great leadership that we had with the company and my time away from a very, very young family. Ellie Claire was 6 months old at the time. Harrison, 2.5 years old. Could see that, man, this couple of weeks or a week a week or two every month was going to turn into much, much longer stints away from family. And that was going to be a huge sacrifice. And through a lot of prayer and a lot of conversation, I knew I was going to go a different direction, but didn't know exactly which one yet. So that's kind of when the gym conversation came along. Right after that.
And I want to pivot to that because you guys and I will confess I work out. It's not at your all's place, but I hear about it all the time, and I have friends of mine who have been members of your all's gym forever, and so. With Lisa, we've gone from education to photography, and I know you've been dabbling in some other things too with creative artistry and that kind of stuff. And David, how did y'all go through all this and get to your gym? I mean, how did that happen?
God.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the Sunday school answer. But I mean, I remember, and I'll very open about this, but I don't know what it was, but I remember where I was driving and everything. And I just felt the need, like before he came to me about any kind of change, I had already resigned. And I said a prayer out loud in my car, and it was basically just short and sweet, but it was like, God, give him the courage to stay if he needs to stay in the career that he's in. Let him prosper there. Keep him safe, protect him, all the things. But if he needs to walk away from that, let us have the courage to do that, and let me be the encouraging wife that allows him to do that, which is hard. But totally like within 2 days, I'm holding Ellie Claire on the couch. I still remember this. And he kind of walks in. He never shows stress. Like he would never say, I'm so stressed. That never comes out of this one's mouth. So, and he wasn't. I mean, it was just one of those things where I was like, I felt led to like pray out loud about it in the car. And then 2 days later, he comes to me. I had resigned. And, because I don't think I would have resigned had this conversation happened. I'm a creature of comfort. And comfort.
When you resigned, you didn't know your husband was walking in 48 hours later.
No,
and say,
I did
think
not.
I'm going to walk
And I
away
was
from
like,
my job.
Yes. And so, but I just was like, when he came to me 48 hours and he said, I'm thinking about leaving in advance, I was like holding it, I go, okay. Yeah. It was a holy nudge. I have no other, I don't know. It just was like, yes. How will we get insurance? Like that was the question. Like we just had it. And I said, yeah, okay. But it wasn't like, it was like, hey, I'm going to leave advance and this is the next plan. It was like, we'll figure it out. He had a lot, stocks and all that stuff. Like we were good for a little bit. But it was one of those things where it was like, if I don't encourage this, where would I be truly, like as a wife? Like if he's accumulating stress from the corporate world or anything like that, and then I deny him of encourage him to do his dream when he's encouraged me to quit teaching to do photography. Like I don't know. I felt like I needed to just say, yeah, and we'll be okay. And, that doesn't mean that it was super easy to like live in that little bit of limbo of like, what are we going to do? But I just knew, I was like, God will provide. He's good. And he has. So,
yeah.
So, David, what was going on? What was going on between your ears during this whole time?
Man, I'll first say this: that if you need a prayer warrior out there, Lisa's definitely it, man. The good Lord listens to her for sure, and man, as we kind of worked our way through this, and of course having some ideas and some other opportunities that were out there, it was a good time to step away, and I'm still a big advocate for, when you do have change in life, you need a little bit of space just to absorb and think and kind of let God work in your life. And that, it was a short time frame. We had a couple of months there where it was where we enjoyed some time together after 17 years with a company, you know what I mean? And it seems like a really long time for how old we were, but I'd literally worked there since high school. So,
and they were blindsided by you leaving.
It was one, and there was some transition time and all that kind of stuff with that too. But I could also see the future, and our culture within the company was very much so that, if we were always trying to work to do the next job and to get to the next thing. And if we weren't really moving anywhere, if you didn't want to move anywhere, you're almost blocking a position for someone else to come through that may want that opportunity. And so again, a lot of things came into that decision. But fitness is something that I loved, and I'd already been certified in training people for about 4 or 5 years prior to that. Actually, some of Lisa's students was just prior to that. Some football players from where she was teaching, and a few others trained my family and some other folks. And it was always an industry that really interested me for a lot of different reasons. But that was really our kind of abrupt stop and think, and then we kind of created our plan to go in with Clinch Valley.
Well, and that's kind of my next question is talk about the development of your business plan and I'm, how is it? Because I have no basis for this. I really don't. How is it to go from being sweethearts to business partners? I mean, because you guys, you're doing 2 different job fields, and then you kind of have this pivotal moment for you guys as a family, and now you guys are like, you're not just a married couple, you're business partners.
Yeah.
I know that's a big question about the plan and how did that, but that's kind of a curious position.
Yeah.
Me?
Oh yeah. You
okay.
go first.
No. I'll be honest. Like, I love CrossFit. I do it. I really do believe in it. Like, even if he didn't do it, before he was doing it, I was at another CrossFit gym. So like, I love it because I think strength-based training and varied, and you're walking in every day and it's a different workout. You're getting that personal training, but it's smaller. It's just, it truly is like, I do love it. But as far as business goes and going into it with your spouse, I wondered why there were a few, really sweet females that are a little older than I am that would reach out to me whose husbands are in businesses. And they were like, "Hey, sweetie, I'm just checking on you." I was like, I'm good. Like, what's going on? And they knew what I was about to face and like, listen, like, and I think honestly, like, it's been so good. But I mean, yeah, we've had little bumps in the road here and there and some decisions that aren't fun to make, but they were actually easy to make. And watching him say, I had the pleasure of like watching him in that corporate role where he had to terminate some people and it wasn't fun and like all those things. And no one enjoys that, but those are things that have to be done. And so it's business and it just is what it is. And so, I got to see that and I was like, okay, like he's so kind, he's so good, but like he means business and he's not going to let anything stand in the way of like his family being provided for. And so, he's a very, he's good with that. And so I always felt like a little bit like not as qualified to do the business stuff, even though I'd done photography stuff, but I was like, I didn't major in business. You start hearing those things like you did education, you did. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, no, like anybody can open up a business. I get that. But like, let's work through this together and like just learn as much as we can. So, I mean, it was fun. I mean, but we set boundaries on easy answer boundaries. Like when we go to dinner, it used to be like we would talk about, stuff like, I don't know, not really numbers and stuff, but just gym stuff. And it's like, no, let's not, So there's clear boundaries are always good.
I'll tell you, it was for people out there. First of all, I want to make sure I don't discourage people from opening businesses too with the way I say this, because I could easily do that. Because Darren, I tried to spreadsheet the heck out of this thing, man. We had I think a 72-page, business plan that kind of was down to the penny on exactly what we needed to do and our vision and mission and our values and all that stuff and all stuff that we really, really believed in.
So you had the textbook thing going, all the everything they taught you at college.
Everything I learned, it was in a book, and it was 72 pages. And for me, that gave me confidence. So I'm not going to negate like what that helped me prepare for, because there's certain things. But I truly believe if as long as you work hard enough and addition and subtraction and some pretty easy math, you can do pretty well in business. But you soon realize that it's still about people and it's still about relationships. And if you want a business to be successful, you need to enjoy that part, and you need to dig into that part of the values of your business. And I think that's probably what surprised us the most. It's way less kind of about the X's and O's of business, and more about like more about the time that you spend and the energy that you spend putting into the people that you're serving. So a big lesson for us that we learned right off, all that hard work, not all of it was for nothing, but I think we would have taken a little different approach. It would have maybe had a little bit different start, but.
Well, and just so you know, we've kind of reached a pivotal point in this conversation because, and you said it, service, and this is kind of why you guys have been mentioned to me as far as an interview for our show. Is this? I mean, because everyone that I talk to that comes to your all's gym talks about what a community it is. I mean, how they feel like they're working out with their friends, and they feel like they have support, and they feel like, they have somebody who's going to help them in difficult times when they're training. And they also talk about like, because you see your all's gym in the community doing different things. And Lisa, I know you have done, with your photography, you have served the students at my school for years and years and years. She always made sure that my kids had a graduation portfolio, our seniors. So you mentioned the word service, and that's the vibe that everybody gets from what you guys are doing. How did that, was that in that 72 pages? I mean, did you write the word service in there, or how did that happen?
It's definitely in there. And the unique thing about, I think this is in, CrossFit and Clinch Valley CrossFit, but you can find this in other places too. It's just that I feel like our community is really bought into it and really executes it well. And what the community part is, the support, and where that comes from is, you get people together, and something that's unique that happens when we get in and we do challenging things together. There's a kind of a bonding that goes on inside your community when you're doing really challenging things beside one another, and you're overcoming obstacles together. That's a big thing. It doesn't just like make the workouts easier. You start to become friends and a family inside of those four walls. And something that's really, really something that I love inside of our group is so many of our, I still call us a small group, but so many people in our group are doing things together outside the gym. They're going to kids' baseball games or basketball games and softball games together. They're supporting people when, things are happening outside the gym. People are struggling. You're getting that kind of support, but it is from that struggle together and overcoming obstacles together that creates the community. It creates that closeness, and that is a huge reason why we love it as well, and experienced it even before the gym with others. But I think that's where the community, that's where that comes from.
I love that approach, because like even in like military training, SEALs, Green Berets, when they talk about, you talk about doing the hard things, and when you do the hard things together, the bond that creates is pretty special. So I have to ask you this, and I'm interested in how both of you guys are going to respond, because when I was thinking about what you guys are doing in our community, I'm interested about what your all's feeling is because there's always day one when you go over and you put the key in the lock and you open your gym for the first time. What's going on in your all's minds day one when you open are you thinking, is anybody going to walk in here today? I mean, like do you remember day one, and what was that like?
I remember ribbon cutting, and I remember we are in downtown Clinton, obviously, little historic building. I love where we are. The pipes, hopefully with the construction going on, are going to get a little better. But we had some issues with the pipes in the back, and it was like, okay, ribbon cutting day, here we go. Dave was back there in those bathrooms, like, I'm just going to be honest.
My elbows,
but I swear to you, it was, and maybe this is me just like, I go deep in my head on some stuff, but Darren, I know you would do that because you are a servant leader at your school. You would, if you had a kid have an issue or a teacher call you, you're going to go fix the problem. You're a fixer. I saw Dr. Parrott do that. He was an assistant principal at Clinton when I was there, and he was amazing. I saw him doing maintenance stuff. He's a fixer, and he would not ever ask someone to do something that he's not willing to do. Dave's the same way. I saw it in the back, and I was like, okay, well, that's reassuring. Okay. So we're all, you know what I mean? Like, but day one, that wasn't day one. That was ribbon cutting ceremony, but it was just like, okay, here we go. Here's a little hurdle, but we're going to get over it. But yeah, no, you talk about the opening day. That was sweet.
Opening day, I'll just say, and it's another special thing about living in Anderson County, is that people show up for you. And whether it was our friend group to start, people out of the community, the chamber, or local chamber of commerce had a huge part to do with us opening up. But all the businesses down Market Street, man, it was amazing. We had people dropping in just to try classes, all that kind of stuff. I won't say that didn't go with sweaty hands for that first, key turnover, because it definitely was. But what's unique too, Darren, is that we have so many members that came in the first month that still are with us right now, which is amazing. It's an amazing group of people. And our community may not be the largest out there, but man, they're tough. When they show up to support, they made it happen. And it didn't come with it wasn't without a lot of hard work and really trying to work and get our name out there. And we did a lot of that beforehand. But when we opened the doors, I think day one, we had somewhere in the range of like 15 members total for the gym. And from 15 members, it grew pretty steadily, from that day one. But those 15 were really, really important for us.
Sure.
Very important for us. But it was unique. And if you know kind of what our space is, like group training, it's, you have a coach in every single class. And I coached several classes where it was me and one other person in some of those classes. And it was being patient and continuing to work hard. It was a lot of long days when you start to think about all the jobs of someone trying to open and start a business. Man, it was a lot of long hours. But I think the newness of it, there's something that happens with new entrepreneurs or business owners, all that kind of stuff. You get a little energy boost naturally from all that stuff that's going on, whether that be a little bit of healthy stress involved there, but it was scary, but I always felt confident because of how the community reacted when we announced that we were coming in.
Well, and then you guys, you weren't open long until we had a little thing called pandemic that just,
Yes.
and then so you started this business, which is working with people. I mean, what you guys do, it's important for somebody to walk through that door. And then a lot of governments say, people can't walk through that door. You guys adjusted. Talk about that a little bit.
So that was a unique, not only for our space for CrossFit, but for fitness everywhere. You could go back and probably still find the articles of how many gyms closed during the pandemic. And so in that situation, like you're either going to look at that obstacle, right, as an opportunity to do something different and to try to grow from it, even if maybe things don't go well, right? And you have to pivot. You look at it as an opportunity to overcome. And I'll tell you, immediately when it started, I didn't even have to go to our team, and it's just the special group of people that we have that coach there, that work there. They're coming to Lisa and I with ideas about like, hey, this is what we can do. Let's do what we can do. And we did online group classes on Zoom. And I'm telling you, there were people in their garages that had their phones or their laptops on their front porches, out in the yard somewhere, in a park somewhere, that just had their phone. And we coached 3 classes a day to the computer with our Zoom friends. And we all collaborated and got back together. And all of our members stayed. It was such a blessing during that time. They all stayed with us. We kept working hard for them. And it was something that we all came through together too. It was just, again, turned into something I think we grew from versus something that potentially could have closed us for good.
Well, what I really like about you two when we talk about this is, and I think you guys really see what you all provide to the community is a service, but you also talk about what your community gives back to you guys. I mean, like what you support them through your service, but you feel like they support your business through, their participation and what all they're doing with you guys. How do you think that works? Because it's interesting. It seems like there's a circle here.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are giving, but there's giving back, and that seems like a good circle.
Yeah, I love that. I always say, like, our members are, it's unfair to call them members. Most of them are just friends at this point. We don't deserve them. I promise. Like, that some of them, we've got one, Ashley Horton. I think about her all the time in her job. She's a pediatric oncology nurse. She's been with us since the beginning. And she is the most consistent cheerleader. She comes all the time. I mean, the girl she's doing great. But I think about what she does for a living. And I'm like, if we can keep Ashley on this earth as long as we can, and she can be healthy, and we can create, because we geek out and listen to a lot of health podcasts and stuff. But lifespan versus health span. So like lifespan, cool, you want to live to be 100, but what if you're, at age 80 for 20 years, you're basically in a bed, but like health span, how can we keep you healthy as long as we can? And man, I think about people like Ashley and like just people that you just want them here for as long as they can be here and doing great things, because I mean, you're pouring into people who are pouring into people that just desperately need her. And it's a beautiful thing. And then she comes to us along with Catherine and Molly Farah and Zach and all of them, Janet Collins, about a scholarship. And it's like they wanted to do a Clinch Valley scholarship. I don't think we created that. They came to us, and it was just like, of course you all would. So yeah, I say it all the time. I'm like, we don't deserve them, but thank you God for them. So.
Yeah, I think thinking of on the service side and how those things come full circle too is most of the things that we do in the gym is member driven. So I think when we thought about it as a team of how can we give in the community as big as possible, we started to notice how many people really close to home through members could use help, and whether that be a friend of a member that's maybe going through health issues with cancer, or someone's had their house burned down, or whatever it might be. Like personally, most of our events are driven off of things like that. And just like the scholarship, that was member driven to say, hey, this is an opportunity we have to go have some fun with these events, bring the community together again to do something challenging, but also let's raise some money for somebody that could use it, which would be, graduating seniors. And for those, because we do have several high school students that work for us, our goal is to have a scholarship for each one of them as they graduate. And we've been able to do that since we've started it. So, but all member driven, pretty special.
That's cool. So what inspired you? I mean, like when you were making your business plan, were you putting community service? Were you putting charity outreach in that from the beginning? Because here's what I believe, and I think you guys are mirroring that well. If you want people to serve, then you have to serve them. If you want people to do what you want from people, you have to give that of yourself to them. And you guys seem to be doing that, because the friends of mine who are involved in your gym, I hear, hey, we're doing this, run for whatever. I know y'all. What is it? The Murphy challenge.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah.
I hear about that a lot. So is this something you guys have always had in mind? Like when you were putting it together, is this what is happening? Is that what you saw? Is that what you thought would be?
Yeah, I don't know if we probably pictured it different. Honestly, I think the members really changed our mind with it and opened our eyes to the other opportunities that were there. Because I think you can, and I think it's great there to give to a fund or to raise money and give it away. But it's pretty cool when a member comes to you with. Hey, let's try to put together, 50 Thanksgiving boxes to give away during this event. Let's raise some money for that, and everybody can bring their own box, and we can go and we can give these out. Man, so much of that is just member driven. So did we think that we would donate at least monetarily to the community and try to give back? I think we did, but we found way more fulfillment by kind of being there and being in it and being involved. In the community versus kind of standing back. So they've made it much more hands-on for us, and I think more enjoyable.
So what impact do you hope your work, what you guys do every day, what impact do you hope it has in the community long term?
I think a big goal, Lisa touched on it briefly, but one of our mottos is that we want people to live productive lives into their 90s and beyond, right? So those productive years that Lisa was talking about with health, we want to give more of those, and we say productive, just years that you can enjoy back through awareness and action around health and fitness. And there's a lot that goes under that umbrella, but we truly believe in it. And another starting point for the gym is that we know what this can do for people that are struggling too. We've had some close family members of ours that struggled with, diabetes, and everyone knows someone that's on medications or several medications that with a few changes, they could change their life. They could really change their life. And that awareness and that change, I don't know if there's anything more we could imagine giving than giving someone time back with their family later down the road, just by making some tweaks to lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think like we live in a culture that it's so easy to eat bad. It's so easy to just go.
And it's cheaper.
It's cheaper. I know, it's sad. And like we talk about, and we embrace the quick fix, like, and that's not always the best way, you know, like, so yeah, I mean, it's just like move well, make deposits into your life, you know, like just what are you doing today to make you better for tomorrow? I know that sounds, but it is true though. It's like, can we be 1% better today? Can you get your steps in? Can you drink your water? Like, what are the small wins you can do? Can you hit your protein goal today? Like, we know that. And we know now, like, more than ever, like, CrossFit is comprised of a lot of women. Like, I mean, I know there's lots of men in it too, but we have a lot of women in our gym. And
maybe it's the same thing as like they saw Dave make a layup and here they come, or maybe they just saw that picture.
I'll hang this up in the
it's
gym.
It's been in the gym.
I'll hang it up. No. It was in the gym. I think I did hang it up in the gym. But it's just like what can we do? What, like, consistency is just, I know it's so like a simple of a term, but it's like, what can we do consistently well every day that just, what are my wins today? And it counts. It all adds up. It all matters. It all will just, yeah. So, I mean, just if we can give people time back with their family, that's a beautiful thing.
I think our hope too is that it's infectious. You know what I mean? It's just like personalities, and Lisa's definitely one of those people that you can be around, and it affects a room. I'd love to see the same effect continue to happen in our community and continue to grow as more friends and family members, whether it's in CrossFit or if it's anything else. Ask Lisa. I love any kind of fitness. You got to find the thing that you love, because you're going to come back to do that more often. You're going to be more consistent with it. But however that grows, we want to see it continue to grow, and for more people, more families to adopt some healthier lifestyles.
So what are some personal values that guide you both in your running of your business and just how you live your lives? What are some personal values that you guys hold dear?
I mean, I just love others the way that Jesus loves us. I mean, I know that we can fail at that every day, but as long as we're trying and striving for that, just loving others well. And sometimes that's loving at a distance. And you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it
just, okay. And that's where you just have to shepherd well. Like, and that's where it's like, you've got this flock of people and you're like, okay, like, how can we shepherd you all well? And, you know, you guys what are your needs and things like that. But just, yeah, I mean, just integrity, honesty, loving others well, having that servant heart. I mean, those are the big things that, you know, and those are the things I want to teach my kids too. So,
yeah. Speaking of kids, we're in an Armor Up. We're doing our Armor Up training camp, which is athletes from ages 9 to 12. So much fun. But we're actually teaching them the values of the gym too, and our coaches and our team developed the values, and we've been bought into those, and it become really kind of a lifestyle for our family as well. But there's 3, and if anybody could take anything away from this too, I think it would be kind of our message out to the community. If you can adopt, we believe, these 3 things, you're on a pretty good path to a healthier version of yourself. And number 1, it's humility. And inside the gym, I think a lot of the community is built around humility. And it's a lot of people think of humility as like I'm less than you. It's really not. It's not thinking of yourself less. It's thinking of others more, right? So when you're in and around, there's something about humility that not only helps performance, but I think it improves your life as well. It gives you a different outlook. So humility is 1. Hard work is 2. We believe in ridiculous work ethic. We just do. I think it's important to adopt a mindset that you're going to do challenging things. They're going to be difficult. But if you look at those as opportunities instead of obstacles, and learn that part about when tough things happen, hard work becomes something that you look forward to, not something that you that causes fear or stress and that kind of thing. And then lastly is happiness. Now this one gets confusing, especially for our 9 to 11. We're trying to explain what we mean in happy and what they mean happy. It's similar, but just a little bit different. And by happiness, we feel like that, especially with our athletes and our members, that if you can try your best to live life void of excuses and complaints and whining, that's going to put you in a position to have a growth mindset. And with a growth mindset, it's a lot easier to live a happy life with a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset where you're going to disappoint yourself more often than not.
Y'all have been reading Carolyn Dweck.
I love that. I love that.
My wife gave me that book, and it's in my short list. And
Yes.
I'm hearing a little bit of Simon Sinek's "Start with Why"
Know
in
your
you
why.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys. So this
love it.
education thing, it's like
love it.
it's still rolling on here.
Yeah,
Still
and
wrong.
a lot of all three of our values was developed by it was the team coming together to get those, and that was coaches and our staff, including our staff that help just upkeep the facility and do those things, and man, they do a great job of representing it too. So.
Well, I think this is going to be a super hard question for you both, so that means I can't wait to ask it. So, how long has the gym been open now? How long have y'all been?
6 years.
6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the 6 years that you guys have been open, what are some of the most rewarding experiences you guys have had since you've opened the doors?
I mean, when people come up and say, I went to the doctor says I'm doing great, I've gotten off this cholesterol medicine or whatever it is that they're on, that might seem like not a big deal, but that's a huge deal. I mean, that's like, I love that kind of stuff. I love seeing that. I love when I come in and there's Dr. Parrott working out right beside Hayden Harrell, or Max Wolfley, or insert one of the kids that he, director of schools and then a student. And it just goes to show that, like, fitness, health, making healthy choices, it's not just an age thing. It's not for the young. It's not just for the old, the middle-aged, the wherever you are. It's like you can never start too early on that, and you're never too old to start. So those are the things that I love to see.
I thought it would be like make it to year 1 and then make it to year 2 and we made it to year 5. But Lisa's absolutely right. I think it is the little bitty wins, and we're just in such a unique call to business, but we get to do this thing, right? And it's so unique where we have these, what some may think little wins, but they truly are the ones that are recognized the most. When definitely from a health perspective, we have to stay in our lane there, right? So we try to stay in those small health wins. I'm off the heart medications. I'm no longer type 2 diabetes. Like, those are amazing to have. It's also really, really, as a coach, it's really neat to see people put in a lot of hard work and see that pay off for them outside the gym. And I know this may seem a little silly, but to see someone gain a little confidence inside the gym and then have enough courage to go, put that resume in at the job they really, really wanted and then go get it. Those are cool. That's really, really cool experience to be like a little part of that.
And I can let everybody know, when we met for lunch, both of you guys had grilled chicken and broccoli.
That's right.
So you were.
That's right.
I mean, it was you ate clean. So
Yes.
I can report that.
Darren brought in his own salad toppings. I was so
amazing.
proud.
We were jealous.
Fruit.
But you didn't bring us any, but that's
No,
fine.
well,
I'll
that's
let
true.
it slide.
That's true. I didn't want to. I thought that would have been.
You live in our neighborhood, so you can just put it in our mailbox.
Well, the fruit wouldn't hold up too well, I don't think.
Okay, yeah, don't do that.
So with your gym moving forward, where do you want to go in the next 5 years, in the next 6 years? What are some goals that you guys have moving forward?
Yeah, so no huge changes for us. The focus for and I think a big part of the success for the gym, as far as we're concerned, is continue to focus on the members that we have, and the community. If it grows, will be because of the community that we have now, and that we're doing the right things and that we're listening. So we continue to do that. What I can see in the future for CrossFit in general is the opportunity to bring in, kind of on two sides of the spectrum, younger athletes and opportunities for younger, not athletes, but younger people, and learning about that. Again, I think we live in an amazing county that gives a lot of support, but at the school level. But I think we put a lot on the schools to teach and our kids about health and fitness and all that kind of stuff. I think there's opportunities for the younger generation coming in and their parents to be more educated, more prepared about good choices to make. And I can see our gym being part of that, a big part. I also see a huge, and one of the biggest detractors for us, especially for, I'll say members my age, maybe and older, so into 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. We have members at our gym that are 70 plus years old, but you see CrossFit specifically, or any kind of fitness, it can be very, very intimidating. I think there's a huge opportunity for people my parents' age or my grandparents' age to continue a healthier lifestyle through fitness, and I think there'll be opportunities for that as well. But we are really happy with where we're at right now.
Yeah.
No more major changes to lifestyle coming up anytime soon.
No, our kids are at such pivotal, sweet ages. I mean, Ellie Claire is almost 7, and then Harrison is 9. So we're doing that kid life right now, and I love it. Like, we're at ball fields all the time. We're at dance recitals. We're doing that shuffle along with the non-traditional jobs. Honestly, like, it's so funny because Dave will get home at like 9:30 or 10 a.m. He's been up since 4:30, and so he's like famished and like eating lunch at like 10 a.m. And it's but it's just like we have very non-traditional jobs that do lend itself to flexibility, and you cannot put a price tag on flexibility and freedom. I've loved that. Get to choose the weekends that we get to work or whatever, and just I have loved that. I do not want to get caught up in that hustle culture. I'm not saying to like don't work hard and don't hustle, but I think you can we're just in that culture where it's like hustle, hustle, hustle all the time. One thing photography has taught me is that that time is just, it's short, and we're here for a very little amount of time in the grand scheme of things. And there's some families that I shoot once a year, twice a year with photos and whatnot. And I can literally just tell you, like, a senior that I had the other day, Sailor Hutchison, and I've been shooting her since she was like little. And I'm like, she's a senior now and she's going to college, and it's like, what in the world? And so photography. I just want to tell
you, I'm worried about her daddy.
I don't
know how Travis is going to take care of himself.
I know somebody that Riceville staff needs to check on him.
If they do. Call and check on it.
Call him and check on him. But no, it's just things like that. They're like, wait a minute. I mean, when did that happen? So photography's taught me time is short. Spend it wisely. It is our greatest non-renewable resource that we have. How are we using it? That sticks with me. And I'm like, man, am I maximizing that? Am I being intentional with it? I just want it to slow down. I just want to savor this with our kids because I know it's going by quick.
Very quick.
Yeah.
One thing I like to talk about with people, a theme that's kind of reoccurring for me is I'm not a big believer in people pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps. I don't really believe that happens. There's always someone that influences the influencer. I mean, there's always someone that serves the servers. Who are those people for you all? Who have influenced you? Who has helped you, encouraged you guys throughout your life? I mean, you mentioned some of your coaches, and that still may be the case, but how about in an adult life, people that have been there and said, been an encourager and a supporter of you?
I mean, is it bad to say, like,
your spouse? No. I think that's okay.
Is that too easy of an answer? I mean, I think he has been my greatest, like, supporter and encourager. And there have been, I mean, I'm telling you, like, I'm one to, like, get on the ledge and look over and be like, no. Or, like, like, I know they say, like, what is it? The fruit is out on the limb. You got to go out on the limb to get it. And I'm good to, like, not do that. Like, I like just comfort. And so, no, he's great with encouraging and letting me do my own thing. And that's a sense with that. Like, I do not coach at CrossFit. I think people think that I'm like one of the coaches over there. I've done it for a long time. I can help people with movements and stuff. I mean, you know, I get it, but I want that's his thing. And I just want to like really support it. Just like photography, like it's kind of my thing and he supports it. And the custom apparel business that I have with like Tyler Mays, like you help with that and support it. And so it's this, you know, it really is like your spouse should be your greatest supporter. And I truly can say that I have that in him.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Top that.
Yeah, I know. Gonna be tough. Gonna be tough. Well, I'd say for both of us, if we kind of look outside, you know, we had, and you know, it's a good question. And thinking about it, Darren, I think a lot of the support for us came after day one, like opening. It wasn't necessarily that we reached out a lot. We did a lot together beforehand, and maybe a couple of family members kind of outside of this area that we worked with before. But man, when we started, there's a few names that come to mind that were extremely important, I believe, to our not only the kickstart for the gym, but being that ear for us. And one of those was our very first member, Dale Cantrell, was our very first member. He's still a member at the gym. And anything from whether it be just someone there to listen, from a business standpoint and guidance, he was there, and giving us advice that was, you know, it was really priceless for us at the time. And it was just that, being there to listen and guide for him. Molly Fair was another one who also runs and owns and operates her own business. And to have...
Both of those folks are kind of entrepreneurials in their own
they're
sense
amazing.
and have some, you know, some wisdom there.
I think you need people like Molly and Zach, her husband. You need people like Catherine, Birkbeck, and Dale to, when things get a little bit scary, if you've got that person that you can go to and it's like, yeah, you know, we've been there before. It's right. Okay. That's normal with business. If you don't get a little scared sometimes, you're probably not doing the right. You know, enough in that one direction.
Missy and Blythe Sanders, go-tos.
Yeah. They still, I feel like I have a weekly session with Missy and Blythe right now where it's just that talking about, but it's, those things really came for us after, and man, it's again part of the community, part of the gym. They've become huge advocates for us and Jim, and they share it. I feel like with everybody they come in contact with, and whether they do or not, it feels that way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I mean, downtown Clinton is it's different than it was 6 years ago.
Oh yeah,
we came in. I'm just gonna be honest. We were like new kids on the block. Fitness facility going in with nothing but antique stores, which I love our antique district and I love most of the stores that are down there. But there was maybe a little bit of resistance, like, cause you know, like change is hard for a small town. But mostly we were welcomed with open arms and loving people that were very supportive. And so, yeah. And I look at it now and I'm like, across the river, we've got Aspire Park. I'm obsessed. Like, thank you, Joe Hollingsworth. That's a great gift to the whole community. Again, like it bleeds into what we do. Like, if you want to go get your steps in, go down there. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Love Aspire. I was there this morning. I go there multiple times a week. So I love our county is like, it's coming up. Hammocks. The new little eateries down there, Happy Hostess, the macaroon place. Like
I asked Jason the other day to go public so I could pay myself. I eat there so many times.
At Hammocks, I know.
I
joked. I said, "Hey,
so I can pay myself."
Yeah, I joked with him. I was like, "Hey, free chicken salad after Clinton wins?" Or did I hear that wrong? He was like, "No."
You heard it wrong.
I think about it, but I don't know. We'll see. But no, I'm really proud of our town. Ken and Jamie White are doing a lot of stuff in downtown Clinton. Entrepreneurs that are just pumping some oxygen. That needed to be there. And I love our town. I love our town. I love our county. There's nothing like it. We've got lakes, we've got mountains, we've got pastures and all the things. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I love it.
As we start headed toward home here, I've got a couple other questions for you guys and we'll kind of wrap it up with these. You've talked about your kids. those eyes are always watching. One thing I've learned about working with students, they may not hear everything you say, but they never miss a thing you do. I mean, they never do. Some of my students at school, it's like I'm telling them something, well, yeah, Mr. Leach, but you did. And I'm like, holy cow, And so what are some of the things that you hope they're learning as they see you guys as their parents in this community, being a part of this community, doing the things you guys are doing with your gym, outside of your gym? What do you hope those little eyes and those little minds are learning from you guys?
It's a good question. So God works in mysterious ways, and Harrison is just like this one, and Ellie is just like me. So we're parenting like miniature versions of ourselves, and it's hysterical. Every day it's hysterical, and I love it. It's a blessing. Our kids, I thought about this, our children do not know a time. They don't remember. They were not, they were little when I got out of teaching. They don't remember that. They don't remember him at another job other than the gym. This is all they know. Mom takes photos and she does T-shirts and things for people. That's what they know. And then Dad owns a gym. And so I want them to take that. Like, longevity is important. Health is important. Be strong. For my girl, Ellie Claire, for Harrison too, but definitely for Ellie Claire, like, I want her, I don't want her to get wrapped up in that body shame culture that's out there. And that is across the board for everyone. We try not to say words, like fat, skinny, all those things. It's like, let's preach health, and strength. Be strong. Those types of things. Because when I was growing up, man, it was rough. Like the 90s, like it was like,
yeah.
And the 2000s, it was like skinny, gaunt. Who can get, it just wasn't healthy. And like now we know, like, muscle is important. Bank it. If you have a bank, you need to be depositing and doing strength training and like banking it, because your body in your 30s and 40s, it starts chipping away at that. You better have that bank built up. It's things like that, like health, fitness, strength, cool, all those things. Be creative. I love Ellie Claire. She loves to pick up a camera. I love that about her. She wants to be creative. She's artsy. Harrison, he's all about the ball field and just being competitive and all those things, which is cool. But man, it lends itself to some really good conversations. And I love to hear the two of them after a baseball game, just like, it's like an ESPN analysis of like, what'd you do right? And like all these things. It's fun. Raising kids with this one is really fun. So I'm grateful.
I think they're seeing us, and I didn't really think of this early on, but again, it's been a blessing for them to see us go through struggles, but it gives us opportunities to, stay rooted in your faith when you're going through those things, and they're getting to see us handle some of these obstacles. We talked about that a lot today. This could be named obstacle, this whole thing, but they're getting to see us handle those situations. So I hope, for sure, their health and wellness, we want them to be knowledgeable around all those things that we already believe in. But to know that you still have to be grounded and rooted in faith, and that's going to be your home base for anything, even above fitness and health. When you come back to somewhere, we want you to go back to there first when things get tough. And I hope they see us, at home and in business too, making an example of that somehow.
So what's next for you guys? You guys, I told Catherine when she was on, and I'm really not trying to be funny. I'm just stating that you guys are young. You guys are young. The last, Catherine is young.
Yes.
What's next for you guys? There's a lot. The world's a big place. What's next for David and Lisa?
I'll start this one. I think we definitely think about family right now, and then the future of the family, especially with Harrison and Ellie. And it seems like, man, this time is flying by, and before you know it, they're going to be graduating high school. So from a family standpoint, we see that on the horizon, and I think it already gets the wheels turning. They're both in elementary school still. We got to remember that as we keep going. It's not that early on, but for the gym, and professionally, I think we see ourselves going maybe in to some different age groups and programs in the future. But more so with the business specific, we don't have any plans to go anywhere else or to other locations, and it's set up in a way that we feel like this is still going to be home for us 5 years from now and 10 years from now. But our eyes are open. We continue to pray for what God wants us to do, and we'll follow that direction. But right now, we're trying to enjoy the moment with our kids and not let these small things pass us by too fastly right now.
Yeah.
Well, guys, one of the things, and Lisa, you and I have talked about this one day out on the sidewalk at my school. One of the things I really love about what you guys do is at Clinch River, we kind of have this motto, love, serve, care. I just think that's I don't know any other way to be successful in whatever you do. Your business, church, school, whatever you're doing. And I want to tip my cap to you guys, because as I said, I'm not a member of your gym, but I know a lot of people who are, and I hear them say those words back to me all the time about the community that's there, which I absolutely love. And I've known you guys for a long time, and I love to hear the impact that you guys are having, in the positive impact that you guys are having in the lives of your gym members, of the community. I can't thank you guys enough for coming in and taking the time out of your day. I know you guys have got a lot going on, but I appreciate you guys coming in, taking the time to meet with me and just to have a conversation, so people maybe get a better understanding about what you guys are about and what you're doing at your gym and what you're doing with your photography. Just thank you guys so much, and I can't wait to see what's next with you two.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for having
We
us.
absolutely love Anderson County Schools. My heart is, I'll always just be a teacher at heart. And so I pray for all of the teachers and educators and the parents that are out there. And it takes a village, and we see what you're doing, Darren, and we see what Anderson County Schools is about, and we absolutely love it. And thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, that's episode 6 with David and Lisa Harrison Smith. If you have any suggestions that you would like us to interview, you can email me at dleach@acs.ac, or you can email Ryan, who's sitting right over there behind the camera, at rsutton@acs.ac if you have any suggestions. And we'll be back in July with our 7th episode and a new guest. Thank you for tuning in.